So this would have been Offner Road. So that side was Florence Township, and that side was Jackson Township. And I was able to learn some of the history of the hedges at the Midewin National Public Lands Day event, which I'll show the footage from that after this. I only had my cell phone camera that day, so I wanted to bring my better camera out to show what this looks like. Holy cow! Wow!
Nice, huh? I mean, Tom and the volunteers, I mean, all of us have worked on it, but Tom and the volunteers over the past year, 18 months.
Holy smokes!
So that road you come into Ironbird's Trailhead on is the old township line. Jackson Township there, Florence Township there. And to the west, if it were to continue, it would be called Blodgett Road. And to the east, I can't remember what you would know.
Doyle. I think it's Doyle.
No, it's
Yeah.
north of Doyle.
Offner?
Yeah, Offner. This would be Offner to the east of us. But so we jerked it around a little bit so we get the parking lot in there. But this is the old path of the original Blodgett Road, the old township road. Florence there, Jackson here, and all of these were osage hedges at one point, keeping cattle in. 1940, it looks like, and Tom, you did the aerial photograph studies. It looks like they never used it again. After the Army got that house out of there, the farmhouse out, they just blocked this off, and it just was totally abandoned for 70 years. And at the end of it, it turns out the Army incorporated that township road into their Group 63 road system, the service Group 63, which is now our Group 63 bunker loop trail. This is kind of neat. We hope, perhaps in the future, we'll be able to make this kind of your entrance. You can go through time of the 19th century land usage on Old Blodgett Road. This really picturesque thing here. The crown is pretty good shape. The ditches are still pretty much intact. And that'll take you into the Arsenal era. And then you can turn south and go to whether you think of the present and future with the bison herd, because that's the north end of the bison pastures, or what was here before the farmers and the Arsenal was here, which is the bison herd.
So Joe, was this planted by the township, or these hedges, or?
No, they were planted by the farmers. Illinois is a closed grazing state, so everybody's responsible to keep their cattle in, as opposed to open grazing states where you're responsible to keep your cattle out. Or if you don't want cattle there, you got to keep them out yourself. So 1854, I believe it was, the Illinois fence law. And a lot of that had to do with the coming of all the railroads too. Those cow catchers weren't just decorations back in those days.
Okay, so the farmers would have planted this as like a living fence.
And Alvin Schumacher describes when he was a kid, his father would be out there with a long pole and a hook saw, reaching in and cutting these things down, keeping them down to head size.
Oh, is that right?
Every spring he had to maintain them.
1870, Kankakee County, 70% of all their fencing was living hedges. Is that right?
They wouldn't let them grow up like this, though, or?
No. They would have just been hedge high.
And for a couple reasons, you know. One is they get bigger, they're male and female trees, but they start producing fruit, and then you've got them growing everywhere. The other thing is you're losing productivity, but you're shading out areas if you got a tree like this, and you lose acreage. So the idea was to keep them down just like you would have a fence. But maintenance a couple times a year, and it was expensive if you didn't have help, you know, your family, and then you had to hire somebody to do it. So that was that's why barbed wire was so much easier. You put it in once, and you didn't have to mess with it again.
So 1860s, 1870s, kind of the heyday of the Osage orange. This, you know, a lot of these things may well date from that very early era. Once barbed wire came in, it was a lot cheaper to use that, and you didn't have to mess with this stuff. And as early as the 30s, the Schumacher family let one of their, just south of the house compound there, the farm compound, they let one of them just grow up because they didn't have any need to maintain it. So it was a lot of work. But it kind of gives us this, which is really about as picturesque as you get out here. And it connects. I mean, it's got a story in and of itself, as well as connecting the farm era to the Arsenal to the bison. which kind of full circle.
Hampton Station would have been due west down here.
Yeah, if you could walk straight that way, you'd be at Hampton State. You'd cross 53 over to where Hampton Station was. Okay, and I better get a bunch of volunteers.